Thank you for joining me on my channel today. I'm excited to share with you a captivating story that goes by the name, Notes Till Death. Our story begins with a man named Haruki. He's just your average Joe living his life in Tokyo. He works at an office job, he comes home to his tiny apartment every day after work and eats instant noodles while playing video games or watching TV. One day, while walking home from work, Haruki finds a notebook lying on the side of the road. When he opens it, he finds that it's empty except for one page with some strange symbols written on it. The next day at work, Haruki can't focus on his work because he keeps thinking about the strange notebook he found. So he decides to go back to where he found it, but it's no longer there. Disappointed, he continues on his way home. The next day at work, Haruki's boss gives him a hard time. His colleagues are also laughing at him and making fun of him. Feeling stressed and upset, Haruki throws the trash in the nearby bin and walks home. On his way, he passes by the same street where he found the notebook. Suddenly, the people inside the trash can move and reveal the notebook. Haruki instinctively grabs it and runs away. He hides the notebook under his pillow and tries to sleep, but the more he thinks about the notebook, the more anxious he feels. He gets up and takes the notebook to the bathroom to examine it. As he flips through the pages, he finds that each page has a unique symbol. And then it hits him. These symbols look exactly like the ones on the Japanese yen bills. Realizing what the notebook actually is, Haruki becomes extremely frightened. He had stumbled upon a death note. The rule of the death note is simple. If the owner writes someone's name in the book while picturing their face, they will die. Scared of what he had found, Haruki tries to flush the notebook down the toilet, but it's too big. Just then, his neighbor knocks on the door, asking for some sugar. Haruki panics and quickly hides the notebook under the sink. As soon as his neighbor leaves, Haruki runs to his room to get rid of the notebook. But as he does, he accidentally knocks over a chair and it makes a loud noise. His neighbor immediately knocks on the door asking if everything's okay. Haruki yells back that he's fine, but he knows his neighbor will call the police if he doesn't come and check. So Haruki thinks of a plan. Haruki opens the front door and asks his neighbor if she wants to see something cool. Then he goes back into his apartment, grabs the notebook and steps outside. He shows the notebook to his neighbor and tells her to close her eyes and make a wish. She agrees and wishes for her son to pass his upcoming driving test. Haruki writes her son's name down in the notebook and tells her to open her eyes. As she does, he says, "You better hurry and make your son's wish come true before midnight." Then he closes the notebook and returns it to its hiding spot. The neighbor thanks him and goes home. Haruki waits until his neighbor closes her door and then he quickly runs to the bathroom to check the notebook. He's shocked to find that the page with her son's name on it is completely black. He thought he had enough time, but it seems like he was too slow. He runs to his neighbor's apartment and bangs on the door. She opens the door and asks, "What's wrong?" Haruki stutters and says that he needs to tell her something important. He explains what the notebook does and that her son will die if they don't do something. She doesn't believe him at first, but when she checks her phone, she finds that it's already past midnight. They run outside and find her son's car crashed into a tree. They rush to his side, but there's nothing they can do. Her son is already dead. The neighbor faints on the ground while crying. Haruki watches helplessly, knowing that he could have saved the boy if he had acted faster. The next morning, Haruki wakes up and checks the notebook. He finds that the page with the neighbor's son's name on it is now blank again. Suddenly, the neighbor's voice is heard. She's demanding to know why Haruki didn't save her son and threatens to kill him with the notebook. Haruki screams and hides under the bed. The neighbor begins writing his name in the notebook. The more she writes, the more the page fills with black markings. Haruki crawls out from under the bed and begs her not to kill him, but the neighbor is beyond reason. She stabs him with a pair of scissors, and Haruki feels himself dying. He looks down at the notebook and sees that the page is filled with black markings. The neighbor finishes writing his name, closes the notebook, and walks away. Haruki falls to the ground and dies. The next morning, the police are called to the scene. They find Haruki's body lying on the ground with the neighbor standing next to him. She's covered in blood, and the notebook is lying open next to Haruki's body. As the police arrest the neighbor, she tells them that Haruki deserved to die because he let her son die. The police find a list of names written in the notebook. One of the names has a circle around it, and it's the name of the neighbor's son. The police also find a list of names in Haruki's apartment. One of the names has a circle around it, and it's the name of the neighbor. Haruki had written down her name and crossed it out. Maybe he had planned to erase her name from the notebook and set things right, but he was too late. The story takes an intriguing turn. In Shinigami eyes, anyone whose name is in the death note and crossed out remains alive. The neighbor may be dead physically, but her soul is linked to the death note. She returned as a ghost because she didn't kill Haruki. Someone else did. Ghosts often return due to unfinished business. She wanted revenge on Haruki, thinking he caused her son's death, but it was actually the person who wrote her name. This means she isn't truly dead, stuck between the living and the afterlife. To find peace, she must confront the writer of her name, but she's been searching in vain for answers. If you think you're safe from the neighbor, think again. She's not just looking for the person who wrote her name in the notebook. She's also looking for anyone who has ever wronged her. And that includes you. She may have forgotten your name, but you'll never forget hers. And that's why she's always watching, waiting for the chance to take her revenge. I sincerely appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this. Your willingness to engage with the content means a great deal to me, and I am truly grateful for your attention and support.